Welcome to the destructuring assignment for keeping up with the JavaScripts. So let's start off with arrays. We've just got the old way of doing grabbing values from an array. Here, the ES5 way. You can see we've got to reference each array item or index, and then we can assign it to a variable. Very convoluted, a bit more painful, but the ES6 way is a lot more succinct, a lot easier to read, should I say. So we can see here we assign each variable as a const variable here. Item 4, 5 and 6 are separate variables, yeah? But they're assigned like this, left-hand assignment, and then we can see them here in the console log here. So actually if we look at them in the console, we can see them. Oopsie. So if we run that, we can see, so that's the ES6 way. So here we go. So yeah, quite simple. Let's have a look at the way we deal with objects in ES5. So when we want to get an object name, we have to reference the object, or when we want to get an object property, should I say, we have to reference the object, and then with dot notation we reference the property, or we can use bracket notation as well. And so here we get all the properties of this object, obj, and then we would have to then console, if we wanted to console log that out, we could do that, but then we'd have to console log all these different variables out. Whereas if we use the ES6 way, it's a lot more succinct. Here we've assigned all the variables, then we can console log them out, and we can see that here, how to destruct an object in ES6, just here. And so here, what the beautiful thing about destructuring, we can also rename the variables that we're referencing to. We have to reference the variable, and it has to be the same name. It can't be. It has to. If it's capitalized, it has to be capitalized. It has to be the same. But then we use this colon to reassign. On the left-hand side is the new name, and now we reference that. If we reference the original name, we'll get an undefined, or we'll get an error. So we can do that with destructuring as well. There's a few other things we can do, like default values as well with destructuring, whether it be an array or an object. Okay, so let's have a look at a few other examples. So here we've got a plain old array, and we've used the array as the arguments for a function, and actually we've destructured the function, as you can see here, or we've used these arguments are destructured already, so we can input destructured arguments into a function. Yep. So you can see this is and all we need to do is put them in. So this is a array. So we could, if we wanted an object, it would be in curly brackets, and then we just reference these new name 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can also use the rest operator here for the rest of whatever other names or things are in items in the array. As you can see here, it console logs out all these employees. We can see Ken, Sophie, John, Rebecca are excellent employees. Yep. And then what we've done is we've grabbed the rest of the names, yep, other names, and we've put them, and we've destructured them and assigned them variables via the destructuring method as well, and you can see them here. You can see them being referenced in the template literal here, or the variable inside here. Okay, so that's pretty good. So with the next one, we can do nested arrays. Yep. So say to access maybe one of the objects in here, or one of the indices in these arrays, what we do, you can see here we've we've done that. If we need to go down one level, so we just add a bracket, so we could delete that and delete this bracket here, and then if we just save that and rerun the code, we can see men's hobbies include soccer, football, kayaking and hunting, so it refers to this array here. Yep, if we want to go to maybe one of those array items, we can go, so now we've skipped over the first one by adding a comma here. So it should be football. If I rerun that now, I'll just save it. If I rerun that, it should be football. Men's hobbies include football. All we do is we just we drill down to the next level by using these brackets and notation, and then using the comma in front of or behind to pick certain variables or indices. So what we've done here basically is we want to print out all these different these three different nested arrays here. So basically this men refers to this top one, and the next one is women, and the next one is children. So we can see it's a lot more, it's easier to understand. If we didn't, we'd have to go plain old nested array, the 0 index, and then we'd have to console log that like this. Then we'd have to concatenate it. Men's hobbies include, we'd have to concatenate that and then plus that onto there, and then we'd have to put this one on here again. And then that's the way you would do it in ES5 JavaScript, except I've done something wrong here. Oops, I forgot the bracket. Okay, if we do that. Okay, so we can see here, men's hobbies include soccer, football, kayaking and hunting. So we have to use something that's not so descriptive. Whereas this one, the new ES6 way, we can assign variables and it's a lot more descriptive. Yeah? So just remember, when we want to get to a nested array or object, we have to add brackets or curly braces to go to the next level. And then if we want to choose a specific variable, or if we only want to assign us a specific variable, we just use commas to skip over a variable and we just leave it blank. Or we can, we can do that. Okay, let's have a look at, I'll just delete that first. Okay, so let's have a look at a nested. So we've got an array of objects and we've got nested objects. So we see here, here's the first object. So we've got A, then we've got B, and that's nested with three other properties here. So how will we go about? Well, what I've done is I've created again, this is something we could do. We could loop over this array of objects and then destructure the objects within that array. So here we can see we've added that to the each individual array index, or each individual each individual object of the array, or each individual index of the array. And so what we do, so this is the first level, so A, so that's the first level within that object, so that's not nested. So B is nested, so we have to wrap it in curly brackets to access these other variables here. Yep, so we're drilling down to the next level, so to speak. And so then we've just used some template literals here to console log that out. And if we have a look here, Esperance is one of my favorite towns. This town is located in Western Australia, and we can see that is reflective of what we've logged to the console there. What about return values from a function? What can we do with that? Well, we've got one example here, but I've got a better example down here. So here, here's another example. So we've used the rest parameter to grab whatever arrays or whatever, however many array indexes there might be within that have been entered into that function. There could be 2, there could be 5. Okay, and then we've just used the reducer to count the sum of each array, and then we return the arrays. Now the beautiful thing about this is we can now, we've returned an array of the total sum value of these 2 arrays. Yep. So if we have a look down here, what I mean, hopefully it's not too confusing. The sum of array 1 is 10, and the sum of array 2 is 22. So we've just used this reducer function to add up all the numbers within each array. So 1 to 4 equals 10, yeah, and 4 to 7, when all added up together, equals 22. And so what we've done is we can assign the output or the return values to, we can destructure them by using this syntax here, this left-hand assignment. And so we have assigned the return values of the sum of arrays function to these 2 values here by using destructuring. So this is a lot easier, a lot more succinct, easier to look at. Okay, well here we've got another example. We could provide a function with a object, and here we've got an object that's been destructured. Okay, so in this specific instance, we've renamed the name first name, because this is so remember, we have to reference the name, or we have to reference the key, and it has to be exactly the same as the key in the object. And then if we want to rename it, then we use this colon notation, and then and then we can name it whatever we want. And this one I haven't touched it because it makes sense. So this has been destructured already, and we're using that as the arguments for the function. So we don't even have to worry about going into the function and getting, say, object dot name, going like console.log this person is plus. We don't have to worry about this person is obj name plus his name is obj dot nationality, for instance. So we can see it's a lot more succinct. It's a lot easier to read. This is the old way, and we have to plus everything. So it's a bit painful. But the new way is a lot easier, a lot more succinct, a lot more readable. Yeah. So yeah. Oh, I hope you enjoyed my video.